Hey, welcome to Youthology Live and our podcast. We are coming live from National Youth Convention. I'm with Jacob Jester, a good friend of mine. I'll introduce him to you in a moment. And we are at the Convoy of Hope. If you see behind us, the Convoy of Hope booth at National Youth Convention. Convoy of Hope, you know, is one of the largest humanitarian organizations in the world, globally, all over Europe, Africa, the U.S. here is our home base. But part of Convoy of Hope is feedONE. And Jacob and I are feedONE reps, and we're going to kind of go through that a little bit. But we wanted to welcome you to this podcast because we are pushing feedONE for the next 10 or 12 minutes while you're listening in. And I want to introduce to you first Jacob Jester. Jacob, tell us about your ministry a little bit.
Man, Jeff, it's so good to be here. It's good to be with you guys on Youthology and the podcast.
Yes.
My name's Jacob Jester. I was an evangelist for 13 years. For the last 5 years, we were planting a church in Phoenix, Arizona. We're so excited about what feedONE can do, not only for you, but for your students, and what God can do around the world through feeding children through this initiative. What a great privilege.
Oh, man.
I love feedONE and what God's been able to do through it.
Yeah, and I know that you're kind of going through a transition, maybe a little bit. I don't know how much you can share with that, but tell us a little bit about what God's put on your heart.
Man, we believe that God has called us to help present missions to a brand new generation in a fresh and a new way.
I love
to create
that.
new pathways so that people can feel called into missions, especially on the continent of Africa. I'm a missionary kid. I was raised in West Africa, so we want to see a brand new generation of missionaries come to Africa. So maybe you want to be interested in that. Go to iwantobeamissionary.com.
I love that.
We believe that you can reach out. We want to connect with you. We want to get to know your story of missions and what God is speaking to you right now.
iwantobeamissionary.com.
That's right.
That's fantastic. I did not know that you are a missionary kid.
I'm a missionary kid,
A product of missions.
That's right.
Of course, and that's why we are involved with feedONE. So let me tell you a little bit about feedONE. feedONE is the children's campaign for the humanitarian effort with Convoy of Hope. And what we do is we raise money, finances, commitment, support to feed children. And what happens is when your monies and your dollars come in through any of our reps or through the website, we're going to post this on social media. I'll have all of the feedONE onboards there. You'll be able to go and give directly to feedONE at the end of the program when I ask you that. But what we do is we take all of those funds, we funnel those to our connections wherever that is globally, okay? Right now, about 144,000 children are being fed through our program. It's an incredible thing. And 17 different countries that specifically right now, and growing. One of our initiatives is to increase the giving through athletic icons in sports industry. And so there are some things that we've already got people at San Francisco 49ers on board, and we're working with some other organizations also. feedONE is an opportunity for you to, at $10 a month, okay, $10 a month, to feed a child for the entire month.
It's awesome.
I mean, because of the lower overhead and because of the umbrella of Convoy of Hope, that's why we could do so much with so little.
Right.
And so what we're wanting to do with this podcast, we are going to a monthly this is podcast number 1, Jacob.
Come on.
Yeah. And so what's happening is every month we are going to post to the feedone.com, and again, I'll have it up on the graphics at the end of this, and you will be able to join in the campaign and begin adding to it. Because the podcast, we're going to be interviewing a different rep each time, and that will bring in kind of a national influence of people that you know. People like Heath Adamson, who is, was the National Youth Director for the Assemblies of God. Now Heath is on the leadership team, the executive team with Convoy, and specifically is kind of our boss a little bit. Roger Flessing is our boss too. But we're going to have people like them. They're all great people.
All good people.
Great people. And Eric Samuel Tim. So you know the painter, Eric Samuel Tim, and Maggie Thorne, who is, again, all the little girls love Maggie because of her influence in the CrossFit Games and all of that. So, and she's a ninja warrior. Who does not want to follow a ninja warrior?
Yeah,
so
she kicks our butt.
Oh yeah, we try not to do stuff with her. Now Eric Samuel Tim, easy. He's an easy win. So yeah. Anyway, love you, Eric. But what's going to go on in the next few minutes is we want to give you as reps kind of what we do, kind of the way we onboard for you. So I'm going to just take 2 minutes here and tell you what I do. So you're familiar with youthology.com. What we do is we support anti-human trafficking. We support a bullying campaign. And one of our main onboards for feedONE is our merch. All of our merch that we sell on the road goes right to all of our humanitarian efforts with feedONE. So our goal is $1,000 a month that we raise, and all you would have to do that is to go to youthology.com and follow the feedONE link, and on the feedONE link you can go right to that, and you can give directly to the campaign, the $10 donation campaign. Yep. So, or if you order any of our stuff and our merch, you can go there also. The other thing is, we do with Youthology, youth events, youth training events, youth coaching events, and all of that, feedONE, we bring feedONE into those arenas and into those programs because of our relationship with Convoy of Hope and feedONE. So, Jacob, tell us, give me maybe some of your ideas, some things that we could be doing as reps too, to raise awareness and funds for feedONE.
Absolutely. When we step into an arena where students are, where people are, where you are, one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that you know that $10 a month is not too big for you. No. I spend a lot of money at Starbucks. I go to coffee a lot. I've got a problem, and I feel like I could probably give $10 a month to help feed a kid in Ethiopia or South Africa or Nepal. It's not that hard. But one of the things we want to encourage you to do is to be able to say, I can be a part of that. Because when you feed a child, it's not somebody that you'll never have the opportunity to connect with, but it is somebody that you'll know you're making a difference in the life of every single day. When I was in El Salvador a few weeks ago, I got to meet some of the children who are being fed there every single day through feedONE. Thousands of students at the school that are being fed. Why do I give toward feedONE? Why do I feed children through feedONE? Because I know that it's going to make a difference. And when you give that $10, it makes a difference. Your youth ministry can get involved.
Yes.
You can do a fundraiser, and you can have your whole family step up and get involved. You can decide right now to be a part of giving back to feedONE as well. Why? Because we know that your generation is making a difference. Your generation is going to change the world. You know that, Jeff.
Yes.
And when we step up and say, I can be a part, it's going to change the life of kids, teenagers, students all over the world through you right here, right now.
Yes. You know, one of the things Jacob just hit is that cause-oriented millennial Gen Z set. They want to be involved in water wells. They want to be involved in anti-human trafficking efforts. Anything they can do to kind of be global, you know? And I think that cause is what I believe connects feedONE to the Gen Z set. Like, even though they don't have this biblical worldview, you know, one of the latest statistics that came out through Barna is that the Gen Z only has a 4% worldview, Christian worldview. They don't think biblical in a lot of settings because of the way they've been raised in the last, decade? So they've been raised by Gen X parents who really had no understanding of theology also. And then their millennial older brothers and sisters have been raised the same way. But now, Gen Z is the lowest Christian worldview thinking set that we have. But what's cool is, even though they don't think biblically, built into their DNA is a biblical mandate to do something when it comes to causes, global causes. So I think feedONE fits in perfectly with that. So I'm glad you brought that up. One of the initiatives that we're trying to raise, even through this first podcast, and again, we're going to be coming out monthly with these. In this first podcast, one of the initiatives we want to raise is the awareness with the Hope Education Network. Now, going on behind us, you may not be able to see it. There are students that are here. We have other activities going on right now here at this event, and they are raising, Dr. Wade Goodall is raising awareness with the Hope Education Network. And what they do is go into schools, which is the non-gospel part of it, unless we're in a Christian school, and trying to raise awareness for not just feedONE, but Convoy of Hope globally at the school level. So that's the Hope Education Network, and we want to just make sure that you hear that coming from the feedONE podcast also, okay? So, hey, we are running at 10 minutes, and this is where we want to be, and what I want to do now is give you a chance to see right there on our screen, the feedone.com, see that, youthology.com, and if you will go there, now during this podcast, all I want you to do is to look at the donate button for the campaign. And we're asking that your youth group would get involved. So you're going to hear this in the next podcast. I'm interviewing a set of youth pastors who have already come on board and want to be involved in Feed One on a monthly campaign basis with their youth ministry. Okay? So what I want you to do, if you're a youth leader listening to this podcast, is I want you to go to feedone.com and just follow along with right there at the bottom of the screen and go to the donate and then raise the awareness with Feed One at your youth ministry level. My goal is 100 youth groups every year that would come on board and join us. Okay, so that's your opportunity listening to this podcast right now. But we will focus on that in the next podcast. Jacob, take us out from your standpoint. Why youth ministries need to get involved with Feed One.
Youth ministries need to get involved with Feed One because when you give out of what you have, it's going to make a difference in the life of a kid somewhere all over the world. When you give, it makes a difference. See what Jeff said earlier is that Gen Z is the lowest level of biblical knowledge and biblical worldview of any generation we've had. See, my kids love TikTok. My kids are on TikTok every single day. My 8-year-old is constantly producing videos on TikTok. Here's what happens. When your youth ministry, when you decide and choose to give $10, you become a producer. You're helping to produce a change in the life of a student, of a kid, all over the world who probably wouldn't eat except for your contribution. You produce something new. You produce something fresh. Thank you for what you're getting ready to do because it makes a difference right now.
Yes, I know we're going to hear. My first goal, I was telling some of the Convoy people on this first podcast, would be 10 youth groups that listen to this and maybe follow up between now and then August, this August podcast. When the September podcast comes, we can report back to you that 10 youth groups joined us.
Come on.
10 at feedone.com.
It's you.
Yes. Thank you again. Jacob, thanks for joining us on this Voyager podcast. Okay? Hey, join us next month on the Feed One podcast with youthology.com. Thank you very much.